recap of the day. How's everything been going for you over there and across the pond and maybe on this side as well? Let's see, it is now 10 to 10 at night. I have really climatized to this, acclimated, or I'm no longer jet lagged anyway. Anyway, gee, I should look more presentable. Have my hair up in my Dutch braid or my, I have, my ancestors came from Switzerland. You go back to about 1600 or 1400, and they come from Switzerland. Perhaps that's why I love having my Dutch braid or Swiss braid up there. Anyway, so how's everything going for you today? By the time it was 9 o'clock for you, I was well and truly into the day. Willem woke me up this morning about 8, and I couldn't believe why he was waking me up. What? You don't have anything to do? Let's go to sleep. I like sleeping. Anyway, but he was going to go get to see his mom. She was finished with her 5-day of COVID quarantine. Anyway, so we packed up from the Bastion Hotel. I didn't really like that hotel very much. It was, well, the restaurant was just sort of part of the lobby, and the bar was also just part of the lobby. There was a comfortable place to sit in there, though. But, I don't know. I liked the Delta Hotel a lot more. I liked the being out there on the water. And I guess it was more expensive to be in the Delta Hotel. But only if you had breakfast. If you paid for the breakfast, I think it was 30 euros for the breakfast. Was that for each of us? Yeah, I think it was 15 euros each for the breakfast. It was a nice breakfast, but whatever. It is what it is. So we packed up from there, so I had unpacked. And we drove over here. We had to stop at the grocery store. We don't usually shop on a Sunday. But we couldn't shop earlier because we didn't have a fridge to keep things in. Anyway, so we went to the grocery store and I found hummus and cucumbers and all the things that I like to eat. And then we came over here. And Willem was very glad to see his mom. She's such a sweet lady. She's so happy and she's always smiling. I asked her today, she's 96, and I said, or she's 95, I guess. She'll be 96 in a few weeks. And I asked her, how is it that she's so happy? I know why I'm happy. I'm happy because I think it has a lot to do with my religion. But I also try and find the joy in everything. I find things to laugh about, and I'm grateful and see the good. I asked her why she is always happy, and she said because every day is a new day and she's grateful and she tries to find things to laugh about, and she always sees the good, and she's a very happy person. I wonder, she said that what makes a person old is not the body so much as the dour, oh, life is bad, everything is bad. That's what makes a person old. But when you're happy, you're young. That's what youth is, it's just being happy and enjoying everything and being grateful. I don't know who you feel grateful towards if you're an atheist. So, do you feel grateful? Does that allow you to feel gratitude and humility? If there's something you're humble towards or grateful towards, some kind of a greater power, for me it's God, Jesus Christ. Hi, Nan B. You were raised with the glass half empty. So for me, it was learned behavior. It's hard for me to see the glass half, for me not to see the glass half empty. Yes, learned behavior just plays a lot. You know, there's trials that each of us need to go through, and they are like, you know, like when you're in a race and one person gets to go before the start of the race, or someone has to wear a weight so that it makes them have to try harder against it. And I guess Heavenly Father knows where each of us can grow the most, and so He gives us these obstacles to overcome. Because without these obstacles, it would be too easy. Life would just be a picnic. We would be happy and joyful all the time, and everything would be too easy. And so He gives us these terrible challenges so that we have to learn and grow and develop. And like for you, if you see the glass is half empty all the time, let's get the plugger in her. Here you go. Oh, wrong side. Hi, Angie. Angie, I prayed for you the other day. I was reading something and you said to pray for you, and I did. Hi, Suze and Namby. Gratefulness is the key to a happier life. I think so. Yes, I think so. I found when in the winter, when it's low light, especially in Canada when everything is very black and white, it's such a gray. Hi, Mike. Wow, everybody's coming along. You're welcome. When it's dreary outside, it really is a challenge, for me anyway. It's really a challenge to be happy, especially if every day is the same as the day before and I'm having to try to find things to entertain myself so that I can enjoy the day. I get up and I think, oh no, not again. And that's not, but if it's sunny out, I'm like, yes, oh, it's so pretty. Oh, let's go for a walk. Let's sit outside. Let's enjoy the day. Maybe I'll work on this or that. Yes, I think gratitude is the big deal. It's so nice to see you all. I'm sorry I haven't been able to be on here earlier. So wait a minute, Nan, you said I was raised with the glass half empty. For me, it was learned behavior. It's hard for me not to see the glass half empty. But then you said half full. So you were raised with the glass half full? Anyway, it's positive or negative. But whichever we're conditioned to see is a challenge to get out of that. You know, our parents teach us things. It's interesting to be older now than my father was when he gave me such a hard time. It's interesting now to see half empty. Oh, you're snuggled in bed too. What is the time over there? Here it's 10 o'clock. I left my phone didn't change the time. Usually it automatically changes the time to wherever I am. Oh, I would have to turn on the location thing. I was raised with the glass half empty. Right. Yeah, so if it's half empty, it's like, oh, well, yes, it might be a nice day, but it's going to rain soon. Yeah. Well, and lack of light has a lot to do with it. If it's light outside and it's darker inside, I have to go outside. 2103. Oh, wait, Angie, you must be out here on this side of the world. 2000 is 8 o'clock, so it's 3 minutes after 9. Well, the clocks changed here in Netherlands last night, so it's now 10. I don't know. Why do they do this to us? Why don't they just leave it alone? I don't know what is it supposed to be normally? Oh, the UK. Oh, yes. And happy Mother's Day. I hear that it's Mother's Day in the UK today. I thought that Mother's Day was always the second weekend in May. Second Sunday in May. And Easter is something like 2 weeks after the full moon or the new moon or something in the spring. I don't know what that one is. I don't know when Easter is this year. Change it all the time. Luckily, someone else knows and they'll tell me. You know, I play the Messiah. I start playing it in September, gearing up to Christmas. You're welcome. I start playing the Messiah gearing up to Christmas, and then after Christmas I sort of stop playing it for a while, but then I have to play it for Easter too, so then I start up again playing. April 17th is Easter. Let's see, we go home on the 8th of April. Okay. All right. Sue said, I signed a petition for Congress to leave the clock to standard daylight time. I'm not sure if Congress cares one tidbit about what people think at all. I really have my doubts. They seem to be more interested in the other politicians and what the other politicians are. Anyway, it's a mess out there. Oh well, but it's not a mess in here. In here, it's all happy thoughts and good things. Yes, we happen to be in the Netherlands for a few weeks. They don't. It's all about the money. Yes, it's all about the money. It's all about getting reelected, and they want to be hanging on the coattails of this person, and then they want to get a good position in the government if they are in good favor with whoever's in charge. You know, there's a lot of, oh, well, there's words for it. But anyway, we won't think about that. Yes, we're in the Netherlands because Willem's been, oh, hi, Steady's good. Good evening, good night. Good day, good evening, and good night. No, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I love the quilt you are on, very homemade. Yes, I'm in my mother-in-law's house. I don't know where it came from or if anybody that she knows made it. I'll have to ask her about that. They do with very little. Over here. You know, one item is enough. It's amazing. Everybody that came to the hotels we were in had one little suitcase. That was it. Just little one. What they were wearing and maybe a change of clothes. Well, I have to have my sketchbook and my pastels and the converter so we can use the internet and everything else, and my extension cord and all my wires and my machine and my journal and my binoculars, and then a couple of pairs of pants and couple skirts and a couple of blouses and a couple sweaters and a dress and my pearls and a coat and some shoes and some rain shoes. And then I had to bring some nuts, as per Grateful. He said to bring nuts and soak them. It's nice that you all know each other now and that you're all saying hi to each other. Oh, Willem wants to send you the music, his music. I remember you showing Willem's mom when you visited years ago. Yeah, I made a few videos earlier and she's in a couple of them. Yes, I'm always amazed to see traveling with just a small suitcase. Not me, I take the kitchen sink. Well, people looked at you. You know, it's amazing what peer pressure does. You know? Oh, I am so like you. I was packing to go visit my sister and my art supplies has taken up a case of its own. Well, you know, and then I had to bring some yarn for knitting and I brought my ball thing for tatting. You know, I couldn't find a tatting shuttle. And so I have this little piece of cardboard and I cut it into a sort of a, whatever that shape is, with a dent. And then I wrap my stuff around it and it works just perfectly. But there's no hook on the end. So I'm going to have to use a crochet hook or something. I don't have a crochet hook. But I'm going to, you know, to pull the little thread through the little loop sometimes when you go around. You attach your things together, your circles together. Yeah, it's hard to do with very little, unless you know what the weather's going to be and you're very sure of it. No, I am not a minimalist at anything. Yeah, they were redecorating this house on television yesterday. It was in Dutch, and I'm learning Dutch. Gee, okay, perhaps you can send it via email. I can get you my email address unless you know of another way. Thank you. Yes, well, you could put it on me. You could send it to me, and then I could delete the comment after I see that your email address, and then it'll only be on there for a short time. Or you can look me up on Facebook, Nancy Today. It's the two A's, and the Today is my Facebook. But with just one A, it's that main Facebook page for, like not a group, but there's also Nancy Today University. But I'm not sure I ever get those emails or those comments. Yeah, but if you can find me on Facebook, or just put it on here in a comment later, and I'll just. Okay, good. Yeah. Find me if you can. Somebody said they couldn't find me. But I'm not lost. I'm right here. Ta-da! I know there was somebody making videos, and I wanted so badly to talk to her, and I couldn't comment on her videos, and I couldn't find her, didn't know her whole name, so I couldn't look her up on Facebook or anywhere. And finally, she's been commenting on here, so now I can be in touch with her. Anyway, but sometimes it's hard. Okay, good. Yes, well, he wants to email it to you. He's got the whole, I don't know how many Valentines there are. He played the 7th one. Yeah, I'm on Instagram too. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Pinterest, and I don't have WhatsApp anymore. And Twitter, I have a Twitter thing, Nancy Today, that's all 1A, everywhere except Facebook. I'm on Messenger too, with 2 A's, I guess. Facebook and Facebook Messenger is 2 A's. Anyway, or you could just Google me on the internet, on a web browser. You were watching Farmer Wants a Wife. I want a Willem, so I will have it to Google Dutch TV programs. Yes, that's right. Yes. Sorry's best. Okay, now what did you say? But Facebook is best among all. That's right, to find it. Yeah, that was an interesting show we were watching. And what I was doing when I wasn't making a video, I had my phone to the internet, the browser thing, to translate, and I had it Dutch to English. And so sometimes the people talking, you couldn't understand them very well, and so the words would be below. But I couldn't get the closed captions on all the time, but just sometimes. And so I've learned a lot of little words. I know a lot of those, like mine, me, mine, his, her, where, there, here. Oh, goodbye, study's good. You have to go, eh? I'm glad you got to come along and say hello. Goodbye from Holland. You can have a trip along if you watch the videos. There you are. Anyway, so I was every time I would see a word on there that I didn't know, well, most of the words I don't know, but a word that I thought, I would write it down. So I did the translate, I found it, and then I would write down the translation in my notes. So I've got this little list now of things I just translated, but I've got a bigger repertoire than the last time I was here. Last time I was here, I was just at 0, and now I'm like at 5 or maybe 10. I still can't understand when people talk to me. But I know that, oh yes, you're in India. Goodbye, studies good in India. Well, I think that you say I'm so resourceful, Angie. I think that I get most out of life when I'm trying to find out more about it. If I just watch the world go by, I don't get anywhere. I'm not interested. But if I try and find out, like that ship, DFSD, thank you for looking that up, Nan. I can't remember what it was, but it's enough to know it's from Denmark, right? And that it's a logistical, I don't know. I have to look them up and see exactly what they're shipping and what they're loading in. Yes, researching everything is so good for your mind. It's so good for your soul. And it makes you grateful because as you learn things, you want to know more things. That's what I find. I really like learning. And so when in Holland, everything is in Dutch. And the first year I was here, yeah, it's a shipping company. I guess they ship whatever people want to ship. But you know, these containers, you know, they're full when they're going in one direction. And then they're emptied. And then where do they get filled up there? And if not, do they go back empty? That's a lot of freight or a long way, like the OOCL is Overseas Orient Container Lines. Haha. I've seen them on trains. I spent a lot of time watching trains in one place we lived. I took the children to the train station and we would put pennies on the tracks and they would come out very big and flat. And after the train would go by, we'd rush over and see what the penny looked like now, and we'd try a nickel. I don't think you're supposed to do that stuff, but anyway, but I would see Overseas Orient Container Line, OOCL, and there's a flower in the middle of one of the O's, I think. And so, you know, that's from China. All the stuff that comes from China, which is most everything that we use. And what happens to those containers? It never occurred to me before to wonder what happened to the containers after they're empty. I assumed they went back to get filled up. But you know, during the pandemic, the problem was is that there weren't enough containers. It cost, and people sold off the containers, so you could buy a container and put it in your yard and put windows and a door in it if you wanted, and you could, you know, make it into something, or you could use it for storage or whatever. And so a lot of them were sold, so there weren't so many out there anymore, and so that was one of the problems with the shipping of things. You know, my son told me he wanted me to buy an Xbox, some fancy new Xbox. I don't know if I would even use it because I don't do those little A and B and the little things you move around, you know, those gizmos, whatever it's called. I should find out. I don't know. If I don't know, I should find out, and that would help me have a happier life. Always finding new things out. I love seeing things that are made. Oh, I have to show you, speaking of things that are made. Look at this on the wall here. This is a mirror that I made for my mother-in-law years ago with a chickadee. Isn't that cool? I made that. Imagine seeing this thing that I made here. How exciting. Hi, Witchy One, you can see how my soldering is imperfect. But that's just the way I am. And also the cutting of the glass, you can see that's pretty imperfect too. But I was just really kind of excited when I saw this, that I had made it. Isn't that neat? I really like taking mirrors. Now what's this up here at the top? Is it the glass cracked or chipped or something? See at the back of it there, at the top, there's it could be that the silver on the back is scratched, or, you know, like there's a hole there. These were old mirrors I would get at the dump. And then I would just cut them and then make a frame to go around it. Well, it's definitely not machine made. That's one thing about my life. Nothing in it. Thank you, Witchy One. She says, love that mirror. And Sue says, that beautiful. And Nan says, oh, so cute. And Angie says, ah. Anyway, yes, I still go to the dump, and I've been trying to film them again lately. But you know, if I film them every time I go, nothing changes too much. It takes a while before you really have a new crop of stuff in there. Sometimes things come and go quickly when there's, in the summer. Well, certainly when the cottagers come, they clean out all the old stuff, take it to the dump and get new stuff. So you find swings and all kinds of wonderful things. And in the winter you'll find, or during seasonal, like if you go to the dump proper, you'll find wood that they've taken something apart, and there'll be all these 2x4s with nails in them, or pieces that are left over after somebody builds something, and all these 6-inch pieces or things. And you can, if you get them together, you can make all kinds of cool stuff if you put on your creative hat. My son did that. He put up a new deck, and so he cut off all these pieces. And so I have all these pieces that are about the same size, 2x6x6 or something. Or maybe, they'll be by 4 and by 8 or something, just all these ends. Well, if you were to put them together in a patchwork, Mary's house, I showed you that floor in Mary's house. There's a video on that where the floor is made of these leftover pieces. Oh, you need to leave. Okay, yes, it is getting late. You said it's 11:15 there. Is that what you said, 21? Well, Angie, it was nice having you here. She says, as much as I'm loving everyone's company, I need to love and leave you all. Sweet dreams, Nancy. Yes, sweet dreams to you too, Angie. Thank you for showing up, and I shall continue to pray for you, and I can't exactly remember why, but I think the Lord knows whatever it was, so that's okay. I used to ask you guys if anybody needs prayers, and everybody would tell me, and I had a long prayer list. Maybe that was on Facebook. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know where it did it from. Anyway, but I have a list somewhere in my notes. I like seeing things that you can do, like this mirror, right? This mirror is made with, as I said, a mirror from the dump. And then I got the idea of the chickadee from a stained glass book. I love hanging out with you too, Angie. You're welcome, and good night. Bye, everyone. Hugs, she says. But it's all just, like when you see something. Oh, hi, J.E. What a crazy day, eh? It's a crazy day. All days are crazy. Maybe we're all crazy on this bus. What was that come from? Remember that? It was a saying, we're all crazy on this bus. Was that from a movie or from a song or just a saying, like, remember back in the 60s, make love, not war? There's all kinds of sayings like that. Peace. Oh, excuse me. So we've moved over here to Lily's house, and we can still see. I can see the ships go by. Oh, for days I've been singing. I love to sit and watch as ships go by. It's not ships, it's tears. It's about losing someone, I guess. I think it was part of the member of the band. I sit and watch as children play. It's not I sit and watch as ships go by. Now I have to find a new word. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I like finding songs that, that it goes with whatever's in my head. So she wanted us to stay here. At beginning, hi Susan, did you just arrive? I texted you back when I was going to start, didn't I? Yes. But, getting when I send something doesn't mean that's when it's arriving. And then when I'm videoing it, that's also not when it's arriving. So, unpacking is really nice in a hotel when you have everything right in the right places and you don't have to search for anything. Hi, Kelly, you're back again. Hello, hello. Nice to see you. I wrote down where you live. If I were to get up, I could go look at it and see. Forget what it was. Oh, you were doing the dishes. Important things to do. Hi, Bear. Hi, Bear. Hello. How are you? Yes, nice dog. That's Susan's dog. If you have a dog that you would like me to talk to, just tell me. I can say hi to your dog. Oh, yes, Georgia. Did you tell me what part of Georgia you're in? I was in Athens. You know, I find that the flowers here remind me of Athens. It's very similar to Georgia. There's azaleas and but all the trees are blooming now. Oh. Did I tell you about the Halsbon parkeeten? This green parrots. They're they're shaped kind of like a parakeet with a very long tail, but they're much bigger. They're big, about that big around. And they like to hang on the long branches of the weeping willow trees. Oh, Warner Robins. Oh, yes, Macon. Okay. I used to know people from Warner Robins. When I went to the University of Georgia, people were from there. Macon. I used to go to Macon sometimes for church. It was the hub, where the district was in Macon. The flowering trees are blooming here in Ohio, Cincinnati area where I am. Isn't it interesting when they bloom? We got here and the grass wasn't really green yet. It was a little tiny bit of green. And we've been here 5 days now. And the grass down below is so brilliant green now. It's just beautiful. And the crabapple blossoms are opening. And yesterday we saw at the park, it's called Orange, Oranje Park. I don't know if it's one word or two. Anyway, it's here in Vlaardingen. Vlaardingen. I'm not sure. Vlaardingen. But the G is pronounced like an H, like a guttural H. Vlaardingen. Willem is so diligent teaching me Dutch, but he gives me more information than my brain can hold. He'll tell me that word means this, but sometimes it means this and sometimes it means that. And if he tells me too much, I forget what the word was, so that doesn't, no good. If I just have, like NAAR, nar, means near, or to, or something. And so then man is mun, and de is the. De man is nar y. W-I-J, is that we, us, or something? What did you say, Susan? How are you today, Nancy? I'm very well. I've spent the day, we packed, we moved, and we shopped for groceries, and we came over to Lily's house, and I was quite embarrassed about the amount of stuff I had here, and so I found a place to put my stuff, which is not in the way. It's out on her balcony. It's the suitcases are plastic, they're hard, solid plastic. But when Willem was taking one of them out of the car yesterday, the wheel must have gotten caught because he broke the wheel off, so it's only got 3 wheels now. It's got the wheel and part of the bottom, so it's got this flat part. Well, it's kind of curved because it goes around the edge, and the wheel. And I was thinking, what if I could take a flat stick, put the wheel in place and shove it in a little too far, and then put a stick in there and another stick on the other side, or a flat piece, and then screw it on. So screw the wooden piece and the other thing so that it can't fall out and it can't go in. Put a piece of wood on both sides. So now I would have to find a stick that would be suitable for this and some way to drill it. I'm not at home with my tools and equipment. And over here, people don't generally have all the stuff that they don't use all the time. Everything is just exactly what you need, and if not, get rid of it. No room, no room, no room. Anyway, I can't unpack all my stuff here because this is a full house. It's very little. Is it arthritis? Oh, you've been in a lot of pain lately. I'm sorry to hear that, Susan. And what have you eaten? Have you eaten anything different? Anything you don't usually eat? That's my first thing to find out, because for me, food is my enemy. I have to be so careful with what I eat. If I eat the wrong thing, I am done for. But yesterday we went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I peeled most of the, I was going to say bark off it, but anyway, I peeled all that stuff off of the chicken. Well, that's how you fix a piece of drywall. If there's a problem with the drywall, if there's a hole, you take a piece of wood and you put it on the inside and then screw it through the drywall, so you've now got a back. You know, you could do that with two pieces, and then you cut a piece to fit, and you put that in there and screw it to those pieces of wood you put in there. Oh, sugar, that might have done it. Did you have more sugar than lately? Sometimes. Or maybe it's stress. I can't believe how much pain I was in when I came here. I couldn't even walk in the airport. I was in so much pain. Is that for Susan? Do you get pain in your feet? I find the pain changes. Sometimes, you might get a day where you've got bad feet. Sometimes it's knees or hips or your back or your arms or your hands. And I don't know. It used to be, if you were young, that it was what you would use the most would have the pain. But now, everything is kind of random. I have a bulge on the top of my foot, and I wore socks that were the regular size, but the bulge had gotten bigger. And so then I really got pain in my foot, and I couldn't walk for days. That's really, it's hard to keep a positive attitude when you know that you're sitting around and you can't move, and so you're going to get fat. Yes, I have fibro, but when I eat properly, I don't have fibro. I have no pain. You just gave your son the mop to fix, the mop head. It won't stay on. Aha. I have a trick for that. You take those, zip ties, those plastic things, if you put it over the hole, or maybe even take it and screw down into the bottom of the hole and hold it there. Oh, there. Is that better now? Okay, sorry. Some bad thing came on it, and I thought it was a comment on here, and I was going to get rid of it, and so I clicked on it, and all of a sudden it was going to go and open it up for me. Oh, no, no, no. Anyway. You have pain everywhere else, but not on your feet. Yeah, it can be sugar, it can be, I find the worst is milk and dairy products and beef. For me. How come we're going so slowly? You'd think that the phone was going to die. He said he'll fix the mop and then go buy a new one the next time he goes to the store. Well, if it won't stay in because the circle is too big for the wood, if you put a piece of zip tie over it and then screw it in, the zip tie will be in the way. Or, you could put anything in there, a piece of chunk of plastic. Well, the way to find out what it is to, if it's sugar or if it's plastic, not sugar or plastic, sugar or milk that's hurting you, just stop eating that one category for 5 days. That's all you have to do. And you can substitute other things. Plan ahead what you're going to substitute. And then, so that you can make it through the 5 days. And you can say, today is day 1. And so the next day, you don't want to have to do day 1 again. So you say it's day 2. And then that's like being a mile down the road. It's so much easier than saying, I'm going to give up sugar. And then you give it up for the day, but then tomorrow you decide you're going to eat it. But if you were calling tomorrow day 2, you would say, wow, I went one whole day with it. Why would I try it again? It took me 20 years to get off sugar after I got back on it. I was off sugar. It was really affecting my moods. I had gotten hypoglycemia, and and oh, the sugar was, I would get irritable and angry, and anyway, finally I got off it again. It took years, but it was that day one, day 2, and then I was okay. But you only have to go off it for 5 days, and then eat it. You could say to yourself, today, on Saturday, that's the day. And you can plan what you're going to have on Saturday. But, then you just, if you can get it out of your system for 5 days and then eat it, if you're going to react to it, you'll react to it. And then you'll know. And if it doesn't hurt you, then you'll know that. My sister, she's a scientist, a geneticist, and she mutated nematodes. Those are those little 1,000 cell worms. They're very easy to study because, let me finish saying this before I read that. So she mutated her nematodes, and they lived twice as long and were vibrant and healthy right up until they died. They were like teenagers the whole time. And then she fed them a little drop of sugar, and they immediately developed all the signs of aging. Like the normal life of a nematode is something like 10 days. And so they go from baby to teenager to old age, and they slow down during the old age time. And when she gave them sugar, they went to the old age stage. But without the sugar, she mutated them, and they lived twice as long. Instead of 10 days, they lived 20 days. And they never had an old age period. They were like young and then teenagers right up until they died. So if it does it to worms, and I've heard so many times that sugar is poison. Well, whatever. It's in everything. But once you have to, and it doesn't really matter when you're young and your body works and nothing gives you pain. But once you get old, I don't think I'm old yet, I guess. I'm only 66. My mother-in-law is 96, 95. And she doesn't seem old. She's bright and happy and laughs, and she remembers funny stories, and she's great. She doesn't age, and I think it's her outlook on life. She tries to sketch people while she's watching television. She'll get her sketchbook out and try and draw them. So she got it out today. She showed me some of her beautiful sketches. It was nice to see them. She really does faces very well. She's really good at portraits. When I was young, I told you this yesterday, I think, I doodled thick faces on the margins of my, I have pictures of my, oh, is Jordan here again? Okay, you were saying something. So Nan B, she says, I gave up sugar but still eat carbs but lower carb. My sugar level was a bit high in December, so I decided to stop. I've lost 12 pounds. But when you stop sugar, it's in everything packaged. Just about everything packaged, even the nuts. Well, the nuts have flour in them. And it's hard to give it up. It's so addicting. And, I can give up this and I can give up that, but don't take away my sugar. Susan says, I have a hard time getting to the store. It's hard to get other things. We do have people that will take us, though. I guess I should make a list. Sometimes you can order food online. I don't know where you live. We live pretty far out in the boonies, so, but you could, I think things can be ordered online. Well, you know what I did? There's some really cool there's some really cool chickpea junk food. I forget what it's like potato chips, only it's made all of chickpeas, and there's like flat things and curved things, and it's only chickpeas and vegetable oil, and I have no idea how they get it to stay together. But I ordered a whole lot of that. I can't remember what the name of it is now. SAAL or SAA. Anyway, I don't know if you could find it if you look up chickpea junk food. But I like that because there's no flour in it and there's no sugar. There's no rice. Those all make me hurt. See, you get rid of one item, and if you get rid of some of the pain, but not all of the pain. So hi Jordan, you're here now. Hi Nancy, hope you and Willem are keeping well, enjoying your trip. Yes, it's very relaxing. You know, somebody said now to, oh, you bet my animals miss me. Well, Mary Jane has been feeding them. She's been feeding the turkeys and having them come there. She's at my house. She says the stream is in flood. It's almost right up into the A-frame doorway, and of course all the wood that I had in my campfire, I had separated them after I had that campfire with Willem. The day after we had one with Maya. Maya with her hot dogs. She wanted to roast hot dogs over the campfire. What a little trooper, eh? You know, once kids get a hold of a computer system of some sort, they don't ever want to go outside again. They won't touch anything else. But she will. Girls are not so addicted as boys, I think. Or at least my boys. My 3 boys were just, Ben made computers for everybody, and that was the end of that. But yeah, so my animals are not really missing me because Mary Jane is there taking care of them. That's nice, eh? So Jordan, you're here. How is everything in Ireland today? Oh, I don't know if you know Erin McLaughlin, Jordan. She's in Ireland. Did you know that she and I are going to meet each other? We're going to both swim to visit each other because it's the only way we could figure out where we didn't use power. We didn't have to use gas and do anything bad for the environment. So we're going to swim. We're going to find some dolphins that don't mind us hooking our arms around their fins. And we're just going to get a little ride. And we're going to meet halfway in the middle of the ocean. Oh my gosh, even if it was a parking lot, we would never meet, much less the ocean. Can you imagine? Yep, I'll just head toward Ireland. I'm sure I'll meet her. She'll just head toward me. That's worth a good laugh, eh? You've got to see things that are... no, you don't know Erin. It was lovely today, very warm and sunny. And I suppose it's extremely green there in Ireland. I remember stopping to refuel in Shannon, Ireland. I could not believe how green it was. And the people that came onto the plane to refuel or to, I don't know what they were doing, probably bringing on food supplies and emptying the toilet system and gassing up or whatever they do when you stop like that in a mid-cross Atlantic flight. I guess we were going to Jordan. It's pretty far, so England might have been halfway or something. Anyway, and so these people that got on, they were wearing suits and suit jackets and ties. I couldn't believe it. And it was the middle of the night. Yes, that's what somebody else said. It is gorgeous, isn't it? This is my mother-in-law's. And I have no idea what the history is. I made a quilt once with all of the fabrics I had ever used to make my dresses. Oops. Wow, you just went for a little jump. Did you have a nice trip? So I guess we're not going to be staying in hotels the rest of the time. We have... Oh, wait, more information. Ian, hello, Ian. Don't you want to do a Dutch recipe cooking video there? I was involved in the Netherlands culture from listening to Dutch musicians like Within Temptation. Hugs from Chile. Oh, Ian, I just saw a comment that you did on... I read a comment you wrote. I don't remember what it was now, but I remember seeing that you were from Chile. I was just quickly reading through. You know what a recipe is that she made today? It was very interesting. Sauerkraut. First, she cooked the potatoes, peeled potatoes. I never peel potatoes. She cooked the potatoes, and then she took the bag of sauerkraut, and I rinsed it in the colander, and then she heated it up in a pan, in a pot, and she fried up some bacon. And here you can buy a little plastic package of a little tub of slices, little strips of bacon. They're about that long and about that wide. They're just, little tiny half a finger bits of bacon. And they come already cut. I guess this is good for people that are older or people that have arthritis, all these prepared foods. But anyway, my mother used to buy a lot of those TV dinner sort of things. There's so many prepared foods in the United States. I can't believe what you see in the grocery store. We have a lot in Canada now, too. We never used to have any of that stuff. But anyway, back to the story. So potatoes, boiled potatoes, sauerkraut that's rinsed, and bacon, and she put in 2 juniper berries and some pineapple. And it was so good. And in some salt, I guess. It was so good. I couldn't believe it. Hey, you know what? There was salt in that, and I'm not hurting. What does that tell you? Have you ever read what's in the salt container? Read the back of the box of salt. It's not salt. There's salt, and there's all kinds of other stuff. Sometimes there's dextrose in the salt. If you didn't know, that's sugar. Yeah, it was really good. I don't like sauerkraut, and she was saying that sauerkraut is usually too sour. That's why you have to add a little certain amount of salt and a certain amount of sweetener, which in this case would be pineapple, to balance the sour. It was very good. I wanted to have more. You're welcome. Ian says thank you. What else? Oh, and there was an interesting dish that we had at the restaurant at the Delta Hotel the other night. It was Celeriac Soup, and it had puffed garlic. And I couldn't figure out what the puffed garlic was, but anyway, the soup was made with celeriac, Celeriac. It's a big ball. It's a root vegetable, and it tastes a little bit like celery. Anyway, and that was pureed, and I'm not sure what else was in that. I suppose if you Googled celeriac soup, you could find out. But then they had this green stuff drizzled on the top, and I think it was the garlic scapes. It was green. And I think that had been blended up with some oil, some olive oil, or maybe safflower oil. I don't know. I think safflower oil is scarce at the moment. I think that's what I heard. I don't use safflower oil anyway. I have a jar of avocado oil, and I like it. And I don't know if I haven't really tasted it. Yes, it looks like a turnip, a celeriac. It's a great big thing, like a rutabaga. Or a Swede for those who are in England or the UK. But Angie's gone now. Any other foods that I've come to know? Oh, there's one Dutch food that is very good. You take potatoes and kale, and you chop the kale up very fine in both ways, and you mix it together. That's one that I think that's called boerenkool. And then there's another one, which is carrots and potatoes smashed up together. I think that's called, I don't remember. Hawkspot, no. I don't know what it's called. I've been cleaning through stuff upstairs. I found the cutest things thing up there. Someone took a lens from a pair of glasses and painted two ladies having tea at a table, and you crocheted around it. How fun! A lens from a pair of glasses and painted two ladies having tea at a table. That's cute. It's so fun to think of what you can do with things. But of course, if you do all these things, you end up with a pile of junk you've created. It's like pottery. You know, I'd love to sit and make pottery, but what do I do with it all once I've got it? I broke a lot of them after a while, you know, bowls. I gave a lot to the children. That's the thing with creating, is it ends up somewhere. You can get so many ideas on Pinterest. Lately, I've been watching, you know, I have my fleece, my big, huge stack of 20 fleeces. And so I've been looking on YouTube to see what you can do with a fleece. Okay, thank you, Susan. She's going to send a picture in our messenger chat. I have a little messenger list where I tell people when I'm going to be live. There's a few people. There's Leanne and Mary Jane and Rose and Regina and Susan. Oh, Regina's on her way to Florida now, isn't she? With her 4 grandchildren. Yes, giving stuff away is good, like this mirror on the wall that has been given away. That was what must have been one of the first things I made. She was a sport, you know, not to mention, I remember those flaws. And I could have fixed them, but you know, every time it's like cutting off, you try and cut off the legs of a chair to make them lower. And you cut off one, but then it's a little uneven, so you cut off the other, and now it's even more uneven, and you cut off the, you know. And that's probably what happened on that mirror. I had shaved down those parts so much, and everything I did wasn't fitting, it wasn't working. I think it's neat that I did that, though. And that it's hanging somewhere. Oh, wow. Hotspot is what it's called, that dish. It's got potatoes and carrots. I think there was a war once, and maybe it was the Dutch. Maybe it was in Indonesia, and the Dutch had been captured. Maybe it wasn't in that country. But anyway, it was what the capturing army was having. And I think they left. Something happened and they left, and the locals that had, or maybe when they were freed, when the war was over and they were freed, and there was all this stuff that the people had left, and they ate it. There was a big pot of it or something, and then they made it after that. I don't know if there's anything other than carrots and potatoes in that one. I don't remember. I remember your video, Ian in Chile is saying, I remember your video when you cooked baked potatoes and for dessert you added sugar to sauerkraut and you said it was good. Do you remember? I think I do. I think I do. And it was some comment that I'll give it to Willem. If Willem likes it, it must be good or something. We'll see if Willem likes it. And then I took it to him and said, here, try this. Poor Willem, my guinea pig. It's the Germans that go for sauerkraut. Kraut. Isn't that a slang for German? Kraut. And sauerkraut. Yes, that was so funny, he says. Yes, it was. Yeah. It's interesting that these videos are still out there. They're still out there, still getting hits, you know, still making circulation. And I find comments on these videos from long ago and far away. It's interesting also I should probably go through them and look at the titles, you know, because as you get old, you have to be careful of the stories that you tell. Because the stories you tell, you'll forget that you know a lot of stories and you'll just tell those familiar stories all the time. And so if you have a list of all your stories, if I could go through and print out just a list of all the titles of all my videos, wouldn't that be a list? There's like 18,000. That was a while ago. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What is it Willem calls me? Um, Whatever I do it big. You know, if I make a pattern for a birdhouse, I make 20 or 30 birdhouses. Thanks, Susan, for the photo. I'll look at it in a minute. Um, or when I make tables, I made little end tables last year. And I made about 20 of these little end tables. And so I've got them in the house by chairs, and I've got them, there's some in the grass hut teepee, and they're by the campfire behind the grass hut, and they're in the A-frame, and they're in the basketry dome, and all these places in the I'm a fan of you, Nancy. Ian says, I'm watching your videos from 2010, I think, when you used nettles in your crock pot. Also remember the leek soup video and used a hammer to open a can. Well, you know, that's the best way if it won't open. Or a knife, if you jab it with a knife and then go back and forth and back and forth, it'll probably dull your knife. But you know what I just figured out? I watch these videos of hints. You take one of those metal scratchy things for your pans, you know, the metal ones, not anything else, and you rub your knife on it, or you cut your scissors on it, and it'll sharpen your scissors. I also have a grinding wheel where I've tried to sharpen my knife. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yes, wait till oh no, I was just telling you that I had it. You weren't interrupting. I was just acknowledging. Thank you for sending me the photo. It'll be fun. You know those buttons you've been making, you cover it with yarn. I learned how to do that. I forget what it's called. But there's a video on that, someone showing me how to do that. Something like that. Buttons are an interesting subject, aren't they? I made buttons out of an antler. There's a video of that. I sliced the antler pretty thin, and then I tried to drill 2 holes in it. But the center of an antler is not as, it's rather porous. And so sometimes the holes would mix together and it wouldn't work. I made antler buttons, and then we made them with some kind of a, like, a oh, thank you, my pretty smile. Makes you look good when you smile. You know, if you don't think you look good, it's probably because you're studying your face in the mirror. Is that what I look like? Ugh, yuck. But if you smile, remember that's the person that knows all my secrets, and she keeps my secrets for me. She's my friend. She sneaks the good stuff for me. I would love some antler buttons. Well, you could make some. You just have to find an antler and slice it. You can use a hacksaw. You have to hold it with a vise. You could use a hacksaw, or I think actually I used a power tool. I might have even used a skill saw. Oh my goodness, some of my videos, like one of them, I was trying to drill holes in rocks. And if it's a slippery rock, it's a smooth rock, your thing will move all over. It's very hard to get it started. But in my book, Sticks and Stones, it says you put a drop of what's that stuff? Epoxy and hardener. You put a drop of epoxy on there, and then let it get hard, and then you can just drill right through it. Or I guess you could sand it a little bit with sandpaper. It's so interesting to see the bricks on the ground here. I say that's all the time, but some of these places, they've got like 4 going this way and 4 going this way and 4 going this way and 4 going this way, and a beautiful pattern. And even the parking spaces, there's patterns of bricks for lines. Here comes my Willem.
What happens here?
This is, you got the quilt caught up in the wheels. So are you okay on that bed down on the floor?
far as I
Can you
can tell.
get down and up?
Yeah, I think so.
Not a problem.
I don't expect so.
Okay then, I won't offer to do it then. If you can't, I will. But it's hard in the morning. If you have to get up to go to the bathroom and you're down on the floor and you're trying to get up from the floor trying to get to the bathroom, it doesn't work. Because you're going to have to get up before you have to go to the bathroom.
Well, I just went to the bathroom, so.
I don't think you'll have that problem anyway. Susan says hello, Willem.
Hello, Susan. Susan says hello to me a lot, I think.
Well, that's because she's here when I'm talking. That's right. Susan is a very polite person. She considers that you're there.
Hello, polite Susan.
Hey, is Bear in the room? I said hello to Bear. Her
Bear.
dog is named Bear. Hi, Bear. And I mean it. Tell me the names of your dogs, and I will say hello and see if they come. Hello, Bear. You have to play this for him later. Ah, yes. Ian says, the pianist.
Ah,
He knows. Have you been seeing his piano playing?
he does
I
have
like it when he
that.
plays the piano. And now that he can't play the piano as well because he's this arthritis that is set in, there's the old videos when he could play, and I can go and watch them. And so can you. Willem must be so happy to be with his mom again. So cool. Yes, he really loves his mommy. Yes, he does. She's so sweet. She's so good to him, and she's so happy. And she's smart. And they play games together. And you know, she's the grandmother of all of his children, right? Those 4 children that were before me. And she's always treated my... Oh, he's whining at the TV. Hi, Bear. Hello, Bear. How are you? Hi, Bear. You're not a good dog. You're such a good doggy. Aww. There. Lily is such a kind person. When she met me, when I married Willem, I already had 2 children, 5 years old and 7, and she treated them like she was their grandma. It was so sweet. You know, like there was no separation between they were my children and not her grandchildren. My mother wasn't that way. My mother was a wonderful person and very loving, but she never really acknowledged Willem's children before we married. You know, those weren't related to her. But Lily just has always treated them all like they're all her grandchildren. Isn't that sweet? I've run out of things to say. That's it. I think you have to have a list of your stories, and you have to start notice when you're telling stories to people. Like when people say, what's your favorite press trip? And I always tell them about seeing that sea turtle in Hawaii and swimming and seeing him go down to the ocean floor and beside a rock and him scooting another turtle out of the way and taking his place. And the other turtle would come up for air. And you have to review what other stories you have. You probably have many more stories, even from the same trip. And if you use the same story all the time, then you'll be that person that doesn't know that they've told you the story 20 times. So you have to have a list, a very, very long list. Otherwise, you'll start at the beginning again soon. My mother told me the story about driving the tractor, and she was on a farm when she was young, and she had a horse. She had 2 horses, and the hired help, they would be on the back. They would be loading the hay on, and Jane would let out the clutch fast, you know, and she would start up and jerk the wagon, and they'd fall off, and that was just the most fun thing. You're going to play this back to Taylor, Lo. He's still watching. Hi, Bear. Are you still there? Yes, yes. Is that right? Is that right? Does this make you happy? What a nice bear. Aww. That's just when he gets petted. I would ask if he wants to go for a walk, but that might wreck your life. Oh dear, did he perk his ears up on that? I think all dogs know that word. They're pretty good at learning languages, aren't they? Now, pigs are supposed to be the smartest animal, but if you talk to a pig like that, I don't remember those pigs ever really understanding things like that. Oh, you know Scarlett's got these pigs, right? Well, she puts them out on her deck. Oh yes, the turkeys are still going to the deck. Mary Jane is feeding them. Isn't that amazing? This is so cool. I hope that I can have them coming all the time. I hope they will scratch in the yard and get rid of some of the bad bugs. I don't know what bad bugs, but I think if you have chickens, they'll... Oh, good night, Ian. Goodbye to everyone. I need to go back to work now. Hugs from Chile. Nice to talk with you this first time. Yes, Ian, and come again. Mary Jane must be loving it. Yes, she is loving it. Well, I guess I have to get off of here because Willem has that look of like he's getting ready. He's taking off his shoes. Uh-oh. This dog is really... He can find your TV remote. Oh, that's good. Go get it. Go get the remote. Where is it? Now, don't chew on it. Leave that shoe alone. Uh-oh. Da-dum-dum. The sweater is off. Okay, that's the last you can see him. Okay, folks, I guess it's time to go. Early to bed, early to rise. Yes, it's 2 minutes after 11. Well, we missed that one. We'll just have to stay and sleep late. Then it'll be like we went early to bed and early to rise. But if I open the curtain... Nan just said, oh my gosh, Nancy, LOL, poor Willem. And Susan is saying, ha ha. That's always the song. We always, whenever we're undressing, we always sing that song to each other. Da da dum, da 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 dum, da da da, da 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 da, and you toss it, whatever it is you're taking a da 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 da. Okay, I must go now. So we'll see you later, and remember. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Nancy, for a good time. You're welcome. I'm glad that I have a chance to laugh with you. Sometimes I make videos in the middle of the day, and I really don't get blocked on YouTube. You're too old for that, Nancy. That's what you think. All right. I thought people got too old for it until I got old and realized that, no, they don't. Okay, well, until next time. Keep your stick on the ice. And I'm rooting for you. We're all in this together. And you can do this at home. Results may differ. I should probably only use one of those at a time, shouldn't I? But they're all so good. Oh, well, he's down there in his little bed on the floor. I don't think that people in Europe are supposed to sleep in the same bed. They have these tiny little beds. Nan B says, night all, grabbing my stick. Now keep your stick on the ice. No hitting the other players when they hit the ball or the puck the wrong way. Okay, this is it. Finding that button. Bye-bye.